Hey guys, MasterFiggy again, and this time I'll be doing another Is It Really That Bad? For this video, I'll be talking about Fairy Tale. Now, I'll be talking about a certain point, so I've only read the first 30 volumes of Fairy Tale, and I have watched 56 episodes or so, and I know it's a lot further in the manga and in the anime as well, but people hating on this, it started way back, even just before the 30th volume. So I thought this would be a good chance to do a video on it now. So I was looking at some websites, checking people's opinions on Fairy Tale, both the anime and the manga. And there is a lot of hate towards Fairy Tale, such as, oh, it's pretty much One Piece. Oh, it's a rip-off of One Piece. The main character is basically Luffy. There's so much fan service in this series. There's nothing to it whatsoever. The new villains every arc are so weak and so boring. And I just see those all over the internet when I sort of look for some Fairy Tale posts from people. And I have to say, people are very harsh, and I don't think it's fair, some of the accusations that they make. One thing is huge that people say is it's a rip-off of One Piece. Now, I'll admit myself, when I first saw the first volume, I immediately thought Luffy when I saw Natsu's face, because the design of Natsu's face is very similar. The art style is quite similar to Ichiro Oda's One Piece, and even Natsu's personality, sort of his dim-witted personality and the way he loves to eat is a lot like Luffy, but at the same time, pretty much almost every main protagonist of a shonen series loves to eat a lot. And also the art style, even though, as I said, it is quite similar to One Piece, it's also quite different at the same time. Especially the female characters. I mean, there's a bit more realistic sort of feel to them compared to the One Piece characters. Like, with the One Piece sort of art style, a lot of the characters, the proportion isn't exactly right. They do feel a bit 2D sometimes. Whereas with Fairy Tale, the characters feel a bit more 3D in terms of the detail in that. And I think Hiro really did great work on the character designs. Though I'm a huge One Piece fan, I love One Piece, but some of the Fairy Tale designs do stand out to me a bit better. And you know, as you go on through the series, it does become its sort of own art style, and it differs away from One Piece as well. Now, another thing is that the main character, Natsu, well, protagonist, I should be saying, it's arguable to say whether Lucy or Natsu's the main character, but the protagonist, Natsu, is pretty much Luffy. And yeah, I can see that, don't get me wrong. With, as I said before, the facial features are quite similar, and his sort of attitude and his love to eat. But as I said already, main protagonists in a shonen series that love to eat isn't exactly different. I mean, it's been done loads of times. I mean, you have Naruto with his ramen, Toriko, a gourmet hunter, which is in a series that's pretty much all about food. You expect him to eat a lot. And then there's Goku, the most well-known shonen protagonist ever, loves to eat. And as I stated already, Natsu and Luffy, having similar personalities, they are still quite different. With Natsu, he can't go on transport except for Happy, because he gets sickness or motion sickness. Whereas with Luffy, he's always constantly on a boat because he's a pirate. And I think with Luffy, he's a lot dim-witted. He doesn't really think things out too clearly. And well, Natsu doesn't think things out as well either. But Natsu, I feel, is a bit more childish in that sense. If you look at the earlier fairy tale, there's scenes where him, Lucy, and Happy are going to break into this guy's mansion to retrieve a book, and Natsu's like, let's play ninjas, or pretend to be ninjas, and he wraps his scarf around and pretend to be a ninja and tries to like act like a ninja. Whereas Luffy, you can say he has a mind of a child as well, but it's not too clear in that way. You could just think there's just something wrong with his mind. He's a bit warped, and he just sort of runs with what he thinks. Where Natsu, I feel as if he kind of does think things through in a way. It's clear that he has a mind of a child, and the way him and Happy, they sort of like scheme in a way, mess with Lucy, I think that's pretty interesting, and it makes him stand out just a little bit more than Luffy. But I would clearly go with Luffy than Natsu, but Natsu still his sort of own unique identity. Many of the other characters in Team Natsu especially stand out a lot. You have Lucy. Now, Lucy's the young, attractive girl who cares a lot about her friends. Actually, pretty much everyone in Fairy Tail cares about all of their friends in that. So that's not really a huge difference from the Straw Hats in One Piece. But, Lucy really cares about a lot of people that she encounters. She doesn't want to see people suffer. And she came from like a really wealthy background. I mean, she only cares about really the necessities of life, which is pretty cool to see. She has a kind heart. I mean, the whole thing with her and Kana, the wizard test. She was with Kana the whole way. She supported her the whole time, though we barely see any interaction with her, with those two characters. Lucy just has that sort of kind spirit about her. And other characters in the group, like Gray, I thought he was a nice sort of fresh character to see in a shonen series, because even though Fairy Tail is quite heavily on its fan service towards the women, Gray, sort of the way he just sort of strips down a lot, because he wants to feel the cold. It is quite, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. It's quite logical. I'm sorry it took me that long. Logical to think of him that way, like stripping down, because he's an ice wizard. He has to feel the cold, and it sort of makes his powers sort of stronger. It's kind of like when you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you see the firebenders. Just before they firebend, they breathe in, and then they release, because they're storing sort of like the heat within them, and then they sort of burst it out. And it's kind of like what he's doing. He's making his body cold, so it's just sort of natural instinct to him to strip down. And plus, it's a bit of fan service for the women to see as well. And considering it's also a main character doing this, it's a little bit different from many other sort of shonen series. Though yes, male characters do show skin in that in other shows, but this particular series, Gray does it all the time. Well, pretty much all the time. So the joke gets old sometimes, but sometimes it can be funny, and it also has something for women, not just the sort of fan service for guys on the women's end. Then of course there's Urza, my absolute favorite character from Fairy Tail. She is badass. She has the spirit of kindness with her as well. She has this attitude. She can kick anyone's butt. Gray and Natsu fight all the time with each other, and she's the only one that can make those two get along with each other. just by her presence, and it's just absolutely great. She's very modest. She'd always put her others before herself. It's kind of fun with her sort of obsession with like different dresses and that, which is pretty cool. And it's good to see a strong female protagonist in the series, which is always great. Granted, I don't really like the way the fan service is on her, but I like the way she's mainly in her normal armor, because I think that's actually the coolest armor that she has, bar the one that's like the trousers are like flames and that. But yeah, Urza is a pretty badass character. Happy, on the other hand, he was cool at first, but then he just got really annoying, and I don't know, I just found him a bit annoying throughout the series. Some moments I didn't mind him, but other moments I just could not stand Happy. He's an alright character, but sometimes he just gets really annoying when he's in the scene. Now, another thing people really complain about Fairy Tail is how there's a new antagonist in every arc, and pretty much all the time Natsu never goes down. Pretty much he wins pretty much 99% of the time, and yeah, that does suck in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I mean, it's supposed to be like, well, these guys are the protagonists, these are guys are the antagonists, take them down. And throughout the series we don't see anyone die in Fairy Tail. No one loses a limb. There's like no one dying in it. I mean, it's just pretty much those are the bad guys. We have our good guys. Take down the bad guys. And then they go off and do another mission. Take down the bad guys. Do another mission. Take down bad guys. Do another mission. And yeah, that bit does kind of suck. I mean, at least with One Piece, with the whole thing with Alabasta, I found it annoying anyway, with the whole thing that Luffy had to fight Crocodile 3 times until he beat him. Now, fair enough, he was a warlord of the sea, so it's understandable that he could not defeat him straight away. And yeah, looking back on it now, it was tedious, but it was understandable, because it shows that just because Luffy just started being a pirate, like if they hadn't just beat a warlord of the sea straight away, I think less people would be reading One Piece if that were to happen. But in Fairy Tail, it's just like, right, Natsu's on the way, bam, he wins, everyone's happy, and then you go off back to Fairy Tail, come back, do another mission, beat another antagonist, come back, and it just gets old. And I can understand that, but some of the fight scenes are really cool. You develop some of the characters, like a lot of the backstories of the characters, like the side characters of Fairy Tail, is pretty cool. Like you have Loki, you have Kana, you have Elfman and Mira Jane's backstories were incredible. The fights in Fairy Tail are amazing. Like it does have a lot going for it, but yeah, I can see people going, there's no real risk in the arcs because, well, pretty much no one's going to die, but there's still a chance that someone will die. And I just realized how gruesome that kind of was, hoping someone will die. I'm not really hoping it, but it does sort of add a certain essence to a series. Like if you look back at Naruto and One Piece, I don't even like Naruto that much. I did say that much, I didn't say I hate it. And it, when the character dies in Naruto, you feel that. I mean, you're going, they're not afraid to take risks, and they are willing to kill off pretty much any character if necessary, and that's what makes an anime and manga good. Actually, any film, any TV series out there, if they kill off a character, that adds the suspense more. Once you see a character die, you're just thinking, who's next? With Fairy Tail, with no one dying, you're just pretty much hoping for the next fight will be awesome. Which they are, but with no real risks of losing a limb or someone dying, it's not really gonna draw a huge amount of people in. With all that said, like, I mean, you know, I'm even part of a group on Facebook. I won't say who this group is in case people try and like shun them or whatever. But a lot of the times, for a month or so, I mean, I saw just comments or whatever. There's a bunch of people just dissing Fairy Tail. I stayed out of it, of course, but I mean, it was nuts, and it wasn't even a Fairy Tail group or whatever, or it wasn't even like an anime or manga group that was like, let's say, Anime X is the best anime in the world. No, it was nothing like that. It just came out of nowhere. I just felt it came out of nowhere. People just saying Fairy Tail was bad, terrible, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, for a long time that was going on, and and everywhere I kind of looked, well, not everywhere, but a lot of places I looked on the internet, people were saying Fairy Tail is absolutely rubbish. Don't read Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is absolutely terrible. Fairy Tail is crap. But if it's that bad, why do people keep reading it? Why do people keep watching it? And people point out certain points from chapters way further on, even past where I am in the manga and in the anime. People like have shots like, oh, this week's chapter of Fairy Tail is so terrible. And if you look back at the history, they have read like the 300 chapters and watched like the 200 episodes before that one, and they said the exact same thing. And you kind of wonder, why do you say that? And it's pretty much just like a sheep thing, you know. People will just, I think people are kind of ashamed, maybe. I don't know what it is. People are ashamed to say that they like Fairy Tail or whatever. But a lot of people say it's crap, it's bad. But then why do you watch it? There's no point watching or reading a series if you think it's bad. Granted, some people might have watched or read Naruto, but well, the reason I'm saying Naruto is because at the end of Naruto, I really did not like it. But, you know, I finished it because I was 600 chapters in, and I was like, this is absolutely annoying. I mean, there were some bits, yeah, that were really cool, but there were points where I was like, oh my god, this is dragging out so much. But yeah, it was coming to an end soon, and I was like, okay, I want to read the ending, and I did. And, you know, it didn't feel as if my time was wasted, but people who are just watching Fairy Tail, reading Fairy Tail, and just giving out about it the whole time, I mean, what's the point? So, is Fairy Tail that bad? Well, it has a lot of character going for it. The art style is great. Backstories of the characters are amazing. But yeah, it goes down on the fights. I mean, you know, you pretty much have the protagonist winning every time. No one dies or loses a limb. It's a really long series, but One Piece and Naruto and Bleach are really long too, so give or take, you can take one or the other sort of thing. I mean, if you can go through the big three or one of the big three, you can get through Fairy Tail. And Fairy Tail is the fourth most read manga online, actually. I looked on Manga Reader. It's the fourth most read on that website. But yeah, personal opinion, I do not think Fairy Tail is that bad. Even the death and losing a limb thing is a high priority for me. I still don't think it's that bad. I mean, I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the art style. I enjoy everything bar those few things that I said earlier. Fairy Tail is a great series, and people who are just watching it and reading it and are scared to sort of just say, well, I think this is great because they see a lot of people saying it's bad. Don't be those people. Don't be a sheep. Just say your opinion, and it doesn't matter what people say about your opinion, because you're not wrong. You're just sharing your opinion, and that is fine. You're just being yourself by doing that. And those of you saying it's pretty much One Piece, it's not pretty much One Piece. The art style is similar, I will give you that. The facial design of Natsu is pretty much Luffy's, I'll give you that. But everything else, I can't see is just pretty much One Piece, because it's entirely different. This is MasterFiggy, and I hope to see you guys again. Hopefully I do not get a load of dislikes for this. Probably did, but oh well. I hope you guys do like this. Leave your comments down below what you think of Fairy Tail. Subscribe, check out more of my videos, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.